the nuns monastery as well. Okay, so now it's the time for meditation, which is great. So it's a time I can be quiet, and also you can be quiet, and we can just allow our minds to relax to the max. So sitting down and allowing your body to be comfortable, however that comfort is sustained for you. We have chairs here, we have stools you can sit on, and there's many like walls, and those are usually the first places which get taken by the people in the know. They reserve their place by the wall so they can relax their back. And in order, the point of posture in meditation is so your body can be at ease. It's being kind to yourself. And sometimes we don't know at first how the body can feel at ease. And if you don't know how to relax your body, how can you relax your mind? So we start with our body. How do you feel physically? It's great to close your eyes because that means you do have more awareness of your body when you're not distracted by sight. You're not judging your body, you're just feeling it, getting to know it, and understanding whether your body is in the best position right now. And as usual, I start with my legs, and I ask my legs, are you comfortable down there? Is there anything which I can do to my own legs to make you more comfortable? And I'm serious about this. If my body says it needs to be adjusted, I adjust it straight away. I don't follow the books on how your legs should be positioned. I sense it myself. I just know that actually my legs, my knees are pretty comfortable right now. So I can let them be there. But if they need to be scratched, if there's too tight pieces of clothing on your body, or you want to fidget, then please do so. And I don't stop until I can feel that my two legs are reasonably comfortable. I never look for perfection, just this wonderful sense that I've given you two legs, a lot of attention, plus a lot of kindness. Real kindness, not just thinking kindness, but adjusting if necessary. Until my legs, they feel, weird to say this, but happy. There's a joy associated with relaxation. I usually don't stop until I can perceive that joy. Then my next stage, I move up to my butt. You're sitting on a cushion, on a chair, or just on the floor, whatever. Are you comfortable like that? Do you need to fidget? If you do, do so. My butt is comfortable, but I'm going to fidget just for the sake of it to show that it's worthwhile doing. And it shows my body that I care for it. And the body always responds to a little bit of care by relaxing. And that relaxation is experienced as an ease in the muscles of my butt. And I move up to my waist. Sometimes people say, well, should you really sit dead straight, strengthen your back, or should you just allow yourself to relax or lean back against the wall or against the backrest of the chair? Which one should you do? Find out for yourself. Sitting as you do, is that really comfortable? Or should you lean back a bit? Or should you straighten up more? You find out what is the best for you today. This means you are developing awareness, mindfulness of your body, but also you have this attitude of kindness. You care for your body. It's just not mindfulness to train your body like in an army boot camp. It's like learning how to be caring of your body and find the best posture for it, the best position for it. And sometimes I slump. Sometimes I straighten my body up. Today I just want to straighten it, don't know why. But it feels good. My whole back feels just right. And you go to your shoulders, top of your back, learn how to relax them. The shoulders I always like just to let go. So nothing is held tight in those shoulders. Imagine a group of muscles in the shoulders and both ends of those muscles. Sometimes they're pulled apart, stretched, under stress. That's not going to help. I just let things go naturally, just at ease. I'm not pulling them, I'm not pushing them, I'm not squashing them. I'm allowing them to, the only word is relax. Relaxing the muscles. And the awareness knows when those muscles are relaxed. It knows when they're tense. It knows how to move from tension to relaxation. Body awareness with kindness, you learn so much how to manage your own body. Relax parts of it which become too tense. And then I allow the awareness to go down my arms. Nothing usually much stressful in my arms. I don't play tennis or lift heavy weights anymore. My arms feel at ease. Go down to my hands. How are they situated? And if I didn't ask the question, I would have meditated with my hands like this, and it's not the best position for my hands. Now I inquire, investigate, and aware of my hands. So now I'll reposition my hands till they're really comfortable. That feels so much better, honestly. And this is just what I'm doing as an example, how even small parts of your body, like your hands and your fingers, you become aware of them and give them kindness, compassion, and feel them relax. Sometimes it's just that those parts need a bit of attention, that's all. And if there's anything in your torso which is tense, you just focus on it and learn how to relax it. It's how I deal with any aches and pains in my body. I'm not quite sure what it might be. But focus there, and it's amazing just how much relaxation and ease you can bring to any part of your body. It eases the pain. It allows sicknesses to be healed. And you feel so much better afterwards. Now my whole torso is really relaxed. And it feels so comfortable. The happiness, the joy of physical relaxation. And I just go to my neck. Especially the throat. It's hay fever season now. So my throat is a bit itchy. It's not that bad. And I relax it. Again, you just have that intention to relax, and the mindfulness gives you feedback. I know how my throat feels now compared to a moment ago or 2 moments ago. You can see relaxation happening. You're at ease. And lastly, as you go to my face, I remember once reading that the emotions of your mind are played out just on how tight your face is, how the muscles around the eyes are screwed up, and how the mouth is configured. And I learn how to relax all those muscles, aware of them, relax all the muscles around the eyes and the mouth and the nose and the forehead. Once it does relax, it also makes a little bridge to the emotional world in the realm of the mind. So I relax my face, my emotions relax as well. Not afraid, not in pain, at ease. And I say the last thing which I usually do is not just with the face, now with the whole body. The whole body just experiencing it, sitting here. Really relaxed, at ease. And I stay in that awareness of the whole body relaxed. First of all, because I enjoy it. Body feels so open, at peace. It's also the only thing I can call it tingling, with a sense of happiness, very light, peaceful pleasure, which allows me to stay there. It's a wonderful thing to know in spiritual pursuits like meditation. And it's helpful to enjoy what that relaxation and deepening of peace feels like. But as I'm noticing the joy in a relaxed body, I can also see the relaxation go even deeper. It feels good. And after a while, you go to your mind. And those who were here 3 months ago know I like talking about the peaceometer. How peaceful are you right now? Just like a thermometer, speedometer. This is just a very rough estimate of how peaceful you are. And that's what you're mindful of. That's what I suggest, to be mindful of how peaceful you are. And what makes that peace deeper? Peace is part of your mind. So as we watch peace, we soon know how to strengthen it, deepen it. Obviously, being in this moment, being silent, not needing to speak, deepens that peace. But how do you stay in this moment? If what you are experiencing, what you are mindful of, is joyful, it's easy to stay here. If you can notice the joy, the pleasure of peace, its value and its use for you, and it stays with you, it goes deeper and deeper and deeper. Peace is inside this moment. Keep going in. You may become aware of your breathing, which is classical Buddhist meditation object, but don't sacrifice your peace. Allow your mind to be as comfortable as your body, relaxed and joyful. And things like your breathing are just so easy to watch. And as usual, I'll be quiet now. until we come close to the end of the meditation. Getting close to the end of the meditation now. Don't open your eyes yet. How do you feel inside? Something like the peaceometer. How peaceful are you? And what is peace? What does it feel like? How joyful, how beneficial is it? When you are peaceful, especially being silent inside, you are listening to nature, listening to the world, rather than always talking back at her. How can we know or learn when we're always thinking? And silence is joyful. Peace. So I'm now going to ring the gong 3 times, as is usual. And ask everyone to please allow the ringing of the gong bring you from inside to the outside world. And at the end of the 3rd ringing of the gong, you may open your eyes to complete the meditation. At the end of the 3rd ringing of the gong. Okay. And it is allowable to smile at the end of a meditation. The reason I say that is because sometimes it's very depressing after the end of a meditation to look at you all. When you smile, it's much better. Encourages me. Thank you so much. So now, the talk for this evening, and quite honestly, that when people ask, what are you going to talk about tonight, Ajahn Brahm? Honestly, I don't decide until 1 or 2 minutes before. And the reason I do this is, if you plan a talk, sometimes it means you're not responding to all the people who come here today. If it's not just answering questions, it's answering something much deeper than that, like, how are you? What do you think? What are you thinking? How do you feel today? And this particular time, when we hear this, so much incredible, wonderful, almost like when you meditate, you're going inside this great gold mine of insights and understandings. But what is an insight? What is an understanding? An insight and an understanding is actually what changes life for you. You see things in a different way. And how you see, you realize just basically how stupid you were before. Why did I think I could get anywhere this way? And I got to make sure that I'm relating this to your lives, not my life, not the life of a scholar in a book, but life which you have to live in your homes, in your workplaces. I don't know how many of you are bosses where you work or where you live. But this story is in my mind because I mentioned this the last talk I gave to the monks. And to me it's a beautiful story. It's such a simple story. And of all places, that this was actually from the Buddhist scriptures, from the Vinaya. These are the rules which the monks and nuns are supposed to keep. And there's lots of really funny stories in there. And this particular one is one of my favourites. I forgot all about it for years. But it's a wonderful one. And it's of this ox called Nandivisala. Nandivisala the ox. And if any of you are in management, if any of you are in human resources, if you're a HR manager somewhere, you've got to give a talk to the people in your company to make sure that they do better for the sake of everybody. I don't mean just getting more wealthy, but also happier. Now, of course, this was a story 2,500 years ago at least. And it was of this poor farmer in India who had an ox who would plough the fields for the farmer and who would drag sort of the carts for the farmer. And they'd been working together for years. And then one day, the ox came up to his master and said, "Master, I'm getting tired." Said, "So am I," said the farmer. "We've been working hard all the time, and it's so hard to make ends meet. Whenever we make a bit of money, they tax us, or there's a COVID or something, we can't go to work, or there's something else happens. Oh, life is just so tough. And we're getting old now." Now, of course, first of all, you will notice that in those days, animals could speak. This was way before Walt Disney. Walt Disney just stole all these stuff from the... But it doesn't matter anyway. So the ox said, "Look, I've got an idea. I may look old, but I'm really big and I'm strong. I'm one of the strongest oxen in the whole of India." That's where it was set in those days. "I, Nandivisala the ox, can pull 100 carts, all filled with stones tied together. I can do that." You know, sometimes people are very boast-worthy. They keep on just saying things they can't do, but this was a special ox. So he said, "Farmer, I know you haven't got much, but why don't you go to the rich man in the town and say, I bet you 100,000, the equivalent of $100,000. That's a lot of money, 100,000. Bet him that my ox, Nandivisala, can pull 100 carts all full of stones." Now, first of all, you may wonder, why is Ajahn Brahm telling kids' stories at a Friday night talk in Dhammaloka? And one thing I've discovered as being a teacher of religion, a spiritual teacher for so many years, people love kids' stories. Number one, they're easy to understand, and they also have wonderful messages behind them. So the kids enjoy them too, even if they're only 16-year-olds or older. So anyway, so he went to the rich man. "I bet you 100,000. My ox can pull 100 carts all tied together." And the rich man said, "Oh, you're stupid. No ox can pull that amount, but my ox can." And so many rich people, they thought, you know, they have a saying for it, "A fool and their money are easily parted." Oh, why not? It's a difficult world. If he's stupid enough to make that bet, I will take it. So they managed to get 100 carts from all the people in the town, tie them all together, fill them with stones, and they tied the big ox to the front cart. And the farmer went, all the people were watching, especially the rich man, and they tied Nandivisala to the front, and the farmer got onto the front cart, and he said, "Okay, ox, pull the carts, you stupid ox." You know, people say things like that, you know. Does your boss at work call you stupid? Come on, you lazy bum of an ox. Come on, you can pull those carts, pull them now. And started shouting at the ox. Has anybody shouted at you today? Did it work? The ox just stood there. And people started giggling and ridiculing that farmer, believing an ox can pull so many carts. And the farmer even got out a stick and hit that ox. Come on, pull those carts. It's important. Now. And the ox just stood there. And people's giggling turned to laughter. That farmer had just lost his whole life savings. He lost everything. And also he lost his reputation as well. People thought he was an idiot, a fool. So he got out from the top cart, went over into the forest and sat down by a tree and cried. He lost everything. And as he was crying, he felt a wet nose in his ear. A big wet nose. He turned around, it was his ox. Why are you crying, farmer? Because of you. What do you mean because of me? We're friends. But you let me down. You promised you'll pull 100 carts all laden with stones and you didn't. Why not? You can't, can you? It's too heavy for you. He says, no, I can pull them. But why did you call me stupid? Why did you shout at me? Why did you hit me with a stick? That's not what friends are supposed to do with each other. We're supposed to be kind to one another. Yeah, but what's the point? I've lost everything now, said the farmer. So the ox gently said, Farmer, I've got a plan. You go back to that rich man, and this time you have no trouble at all. This time, have you got an ox and tell the ox at home how to earn lots of money? You tell that ox to go to that rich man and this time bet him 200,000 that I can pull those carts. But this time, said the ox, don't call me stupid. Don't shout at me, don't hit me, we're friends. So he did that. The rich man was very happy to get an extra $200,000. But this time, when they tied the ox to the front cart, when the farmer went up there, he told the ox, Dear ox, lovely ox, great friend, if it's not too much problem for you, would you mind trying to pull these carts? But if it's too much, don't bother. And so this time, Nandivisala the ox strained every muscle in his body and he was pulling those carts or trying to, and what happened? Nothing. They were too heavy. No ox could pull that amount. And so the farmer said, oh, it doesn't matter. I may have lost all my money, all my possessions, but I still have got you. We're still friends, and that's most important. I don't want you to injure yourself or hurt yourself or die of anything. So it doesn't matter, we can find some way, somewhere of living. And at that, the ox tried again. You could see all the muscles in his legs just stand out. You could start to see the sweat coming out of his body and there's some steam coming out of his ears. He was really trying his best. And he was pulling and what happened? Nothing again. One of the things you will know if you've been here long enough is that in Buddhism, things always get done 3 times. You've got 3 refuges, go out 3 times whenever we do some worship or anything, 3 incense sticks. So anyway, he said, oh, give it up, I don't want to kill you, you're trying too hard, leave it alone, it's fine. And because the farmer was so kind to the ox really pulled this time. You can see all the muscles about to explode in his legs. His whole body was tensed up, and there was sweat coming from every part of his skin, and steam not just from his nose but his ears as well. And you could see his eyes were bulging out like they're going to pop any moment. But before his eyes popped out, something started to move. And they could all see just one wheel started to move. And they all started cheering, as people do when they see such incredible feats of strength from kindness. They were all cheering. Yay, come on Nandivisala, you can do it. They weren't calling him stupid anymore. They weren't shouting at him. They were cheering him on. Come on, you can do this. Another wheel started to squeak. And then another wheel, and another wheel, and another wheel. And soon the last cart was standing where the first cart once stood. They had won the bet. And so Nandivisala and the farmer could retire, and they didn't need to access a superannuation or get a pension or anything. I love stories like that, because it shows if you are in any position of authority, like being a mother or a father, you don't tell your son what to do. You say, "Oh, dear son, kind son." It's a wonderful thing, especially to go to your exams and do well. But if you don't, it doesn't matter. You're still our son. We'll always love you and care for you. Dear committee, I know I'm your president, but if you don't turn up for meetings, or if you're late, or if you just waste all our time, it doesn't matter. It's just wonderful that you're giving it a try. Thank you for joining in. Dear members of the Buddhist Society of West Australia, dear people who come on a Friday night, you don't have to come and help clean up afterwards. I know you've got very, very busy lives, and it's too difficult to come and join the Dhammaloka subcommittee. But if you do, that'd be a wonderful thing. But I don't want to pressure you at all. That works. Not just Nandivisala. When I first taught that story a long time ago, because I saw it in the teachings of the Buddha, another gentleman came up. It's wonderful afterwards. You come after you tell me your stories, which are similar. And this guy, he was helping at like a school fete, raising money for the local primary school. I don't know why they have to raise money for the local primary school. They always manage to find enough money for nuclear submarines and other stuff they buy. But schools, you have to raise your own money. But they're raising money in the local park, and one of the things they had, one of the fundraising initiatives was camel rides. Have you ever been on a camel ride? Anyway, this guy always wanted to go on a camel ride. But when he got to the park, it was really late and about to close up, and it's been a really, really hot day. So he thought, well, can I just have the last camel ride, please? And the guy who was organising it said, I'm sorry, but the camel has been working hard all day. And the poor camel is really tired. It's been very hot. And we've got enough money now for the school. So, sorry, you missed out. And this guy looked at the camel and looked at the man and said, look, it's not just for the sake of money, but it's something I always wanted to do in life, to ride a camel. And, I can pay double, triple, I don't care about the money. Can I please ride that camel? And apparently he said, the man who was organised this looked up at the camel, looked in the eyes. It was, it's almost like a pet, almost part of the family. Looked at the camel and said, dear camel, this gentleman's come such a long way. And I know that you've worked so hard and you're really tired. I'm tired too. would you mind? Just one more round. And of course the camel went straight down. And he climbed on its back and the camel lifted up. One more round, out of kindness. If you are a manager in a company, and it's Friday afternoon and people are going, we have one more package to send to an important customer. Dear delivery driver, just one more. It's really important. We can actually pay you extra or take a day off afterwards. Can you do that for us? What would you do? You can see what we're getting into there is this beautiful kindness in people. And the worst thing to do is start to criticize and complain, saying that's not the way to do it this way, do it my way, you're no good, you're hopeless, I don't know why we have you in this Buddhist society. Ajahn Brahm. You always say the same jokes. Do I? Really? Okay, I'm going to test you out. It's been 3 months. The Buddhist Society here, the Dhammaloka subcommittee, needed a lot of sort of improvements and stuff, so they hired an odd job man to come in and help. And Bill just, was organising, looking after the place. He gave the odd job man 10 jobs to do. The odd job man only completed job number 1, number 3, number 5, number 7, and number 9. He was the odd job man. I think you were right, they haven't improved, have they? But you see, what you're doing over here, just telling a joke, having some fun in a spiritual gathering, and telling a story about how kindness is more powerful than using force, is actually saying something which actually works in your life and everybody's life, and makes life a much more peaceful and wonderful world in which to live. And it's not just the world in which you live. I don't know how many people they live together, they go and get married, but they don't know how to love and care for one another. Weird, isn't it? I'm a monk. I've never been married, but I know how it works. So instead, why don't you, the partner you have, if you want something done, dear husband, we know we really do need a new kitchen. We don't say, a new kitchen or I'm leaving you. That's not nice, it's just not spiritual. Just say, dear husband, I know that we're very short of cash and it's very difficult. And if you could possibly afford a new kitchen in our house, it'd be a wonderful thing to do. But don't make it too hard for yourself. I don't want you to work too much. Or whatever it is, you find that kindness actually works much more powerfully than anything else. And it's also something which works for you. I don't know what your aspirations are, what you want in life. But how many times do you say to yourself, right, this time, I'm going to really do it this time. Really do it. Come on, you stupid person. I want to meditate. I really want to get deep. Or else. That's not the way I meditate. Sometimes I close my eyes and say, dear Ajahn Brahm, if it's not too difficult for you, if it's not too much problem, would you like to get into a nice deep meditation? It's not a joke. Try that. If it's too much trouble, you've been working all day and you're really tired and lots of stuff happening, then never mind. But if you really can, it'd be wonderful. That sort of attitude is actually very powerful. You're actually encouraging yourself. And you don't have this terrible negativity, which is almost like a cancer inside of you. I'm talking about that in a very real way as well. The negativity which you have, the fear, the judgment, that is what really drags us down. And it stops us achieving the very highest. And I can't just understand sometimes why people are so critical of themselves. There's this wonderful, this incredible lack of self-respect. How can you respect anybody else if you haven't got that respect for yourself? But Ajahn Brahm, if you knew who I really was, if you knew how I thought, if you knew how I was lazy, if I knew how I did this and did that and did something else or didn't do something. But no, we judge ourselves really, really way too harshly. Okay, I haven't talked here for 3 months, so I don't mind repeating this. It's one of my favourite anecdotes and stories from my own life. Because a lot of times that I do receive invitations all sorts of places. And if I'm free, I can do it. But this was a time when somebody who comes here invited me. It was he's okay. For Phoenix, she took me. She's a committee member. She took me to get my glasses strengthened, so I could always be up here instead of down here. It still goes down. That doesn't matter. It's good enough. But it was a very, very kind thing you did. But when this time I was invited to go somewhere, and they said it's really important. I'm sure they said that I can do something of great use. It was Mental Health Week here in West Australia. And of course there's many events there, and some of those events say the same old things. They wanted me to go there because at least I saw something different. I didn't get it out of a book. I get this out of our life. And so this particular group was a group what they call clients of mental health. These were the people who go to see the psychologists and psychiatrists sometimes again and again for years and years and years, and nothing seems to work. They go through therapy and therapy and therapy and therapy. And again, having no preparation at all, going into the room. It's in the convention centre in Perth, down in St George, no, not St George's Terrace, by the river. And anyway, when I when I went there, I didn't know sort of who was really the audience, and I just gave them a very simple simile. And that was a simile of, I gave this to someone today who came to visit Bodhinyana Monastery before I left to come here. And he said there was so many trees in the forest at Bodhinyana. And I spent my whole life as what they call a forest monk, living in forests over in many different countries. And I said, all those times in the forest, I've never ever seen a perfect tree. They just do not exist. I'm talking about a tree which is dead straight. A tree which has got all the branches in the right place. All the leaves green. No leaves being eaten by insects, by parasites. No damage to the bark. No sort of holes in the trunk where a limb of that tree had fallen off because of some storm before. No burn marks because of bushfires over here. I've never seen a tree which is perfect. What I've ever seen is trees which are bent and crooked and damaged. And I said, if I did ever see a perfect tree, number one, they don't exist, but also they're not beautiful. The trees which you like to see, have your photograph taken underneath, go back to again and again and again. Those are trees which are bent and twisted. So I told this group of people who have been told by their therapists that they are damaged goods. I don't know why we use that word. But anyway, I said, if you're damaged goods, number one, you're like those trees in the forest. You belong. And just mentioning that word, you belong, they had a huge reaction. Many of those women, and I'm not exaggerating, they burst out crying. Because sometimes if we think there's something wrong with us, there's something which we should change, that we're not acceptable, that we're damaged, nobody wants us anymore, that stigmatization and rejection, not being part of things, that really hurts. And those are those pains which you can't see on the body, which go deep inside the heart. And they just cause so much problems for you in your life. You find it hard to have a relationship with somebody else when you can't have a relationship with your own self. And you find it hard to be accepting when you think you're damaged and don't belong. And then the next part of it, I said, not only that, you belong in the great forest of humanity. But number two, the more damaged you are, and I think I got over there in the convention centre, I said that, you're the clients of the mental health, so you're probably more damaged than most. You are my favourites. The twisted trees, all bent and crooked, many holes in the bark. You are the most beautiful. And I mean that. You go in the forest. Which trees do you like the most? The ones which are bent and damaged. They started crying again. But it wasn't crying out of sadness, it's crying out of understanding and insight which can change people. What I would say, you don't have to have this stupid idea of what perfection is. Instead, have a look at yourself. You're old, you're bent, you're crooked. Gorgeous. So little by little, those sorts of different ways of looking at life with kindness, it uncovers some things inside of you which you never expected to see before. And what's the result of that? You don't get proud. It's amazing just how people in today's world, we accept criticism. We may not admit it, we accept criticism, but we do. We think afterwards, why did he say that to me? He doesn't really know. He's got no right to say, he's got it wrong. That's what we think on the outside, but on the inside, yeah, it's probably something to do with what I said or what I did. He's right. Especially when you're in authority. If you're an authority figure, sometimes what you say, you think that your son, your daughter, whatever it is, doesn't really listen to you. They do. This is what I found years ago, talking to kids. They listen to what their parents say, but they won't admit it. And it hurts. That's why a little bit of praise gets you everywhere. It's why my father, one of the words which he said, which I will always remember, which you all know that, is when he took me aside and said, son, wherever you go in your life, whatever you do, the door of my heart's always open to you. That's powerful. I'll never forget that. Okay, I've mentioned it many, many times, even the title of a book which I wrote. But that was so meaningful. Somebody who was my own father would actually say, whatever you do in your life, however you turn out, you may be really bent, I may be ashamed of you, but you can always come in my home. Because you're my son, and I love you forever. And I often ask people to please say that to the people you live with, the people who share your house, husband, wife. Say it to them. That you may not be the most perfect wife. You're bent, you're crooked. Well, the door of my house is always open to you. When you actually say that and you mean it, it changes everything. You don't have to try so hard in life to be perfect. How many of you want to be perfect? If you want to be perfect, if you think that the spiritual life is like perfecting yourself, you're going to have a lot of stress in your life. You're never going to get there. You think it's close sometimes, but you actually never reach perfection. And after a while you realize you've been going in the wrong direction. Instead of trying to reach perfection, it's in a sense of acceptance, being at peace. At peace with who you are, how you are, where you are. And that acceptance will always come with this beautiful sense of kindness and gentleness. And once you can do that, dear whoever you are, the door of my house is always open to you. Dear ox, if you can, please pull those carts, but you don't have to. And that's where achievement comes from. You're not trying because you're afraid, you're being compelled by somebody. You're doing it just out of pure kindness, out of love. That type of energy is huge. And anyone who doubts that, just come and look at all the stuff we've built over these years. Sometimes it blows my mind. Just spend 3 months over at Bodhinyana Monastery in Serpentine and realise that all that stuff over there, just about all of it, I was involved somewhere. Putting in the concrete foundations or the walls, the roofs, designing it, maintaining it. After all those years, it's not just Bodhinyana Monastery, because during the rains retreat, we don't just go on retreat all the time. One of the things we did during our rains retreat was actually go and visit Dhammasara Monastery to watch the ordination of 4 new bhikkhunis. And it was that first time it was led by Venerable Hasapanya. And that just really, I was not expecting to be touched so deeply. That there, it wasn't just building halls, it was building people. This beautiful bhikkhuni sangha, women. You may sort of take that for granted here, but my goodness, it was a fight for me to actually get that to happen. And it's a fight to try and increase, unfortunately, I'm embarrassed to say this, increase a full representation of women in Buddhism. I can't understand why not. Fully ordained female monks, nuns, whatever you want to call it. And we have that at Dhammasara. And you go and see it there, and I noticed the difficulties and the problems which are faced. And to see they've done it. Yay! Well done. That brings you so much joy to see that it's possible. It can be done. It has been done. We did it in Perth first. Good old Perth. And 12 years it takes for a fully ordained bhikkhuni to have enough seniority that she can ordain her own bhikkhunis. And that's what happened. And I mention that also because today, I never thought of saying this, but it needs to be said. It's a special day today. October the 22nd, 12 years ago, was when we gave the first bhikkhuni ordination to Ajahn Brahm, to Ajahn Nirodha, Ajahn Seri, and Hasapanya, 4 of them. On the evening of October the 22nd, 12 years ago, that's 2009. And when I look back upon that, he did that from kindness. He didn't force anything. Some people thought we did, but no, it was just out of kindness for, why not? It's the obvious thing to do. thought it wasn't possible. You did it. Yeah. You know, afterwards, just like Nandivisala and the farmer, they had enough money there to live happily ever after. Enough, basically. Just like when you do a good act of kindness, then you get enough happiness to actually to spread, let other people know about it, to inspire others to do things which are so-called impossible. It needs to be done. Never think you can't do it. Never think it's impossible. Never think that the forces against you are just too strong. No, just do it. With joy and with happiness. Never with ill will or violence. That never works. That's in my experience. And seeing just all those wonderful things which you did, and other people did, it gives you such happiness and joy and inspiration to keep on going, see what else can come along, see whatever obstacle you can get past, and even your health obstacles, every now and again. Because one of these things happened recently. I can say this, can't I? About just one of the friends of the Buddhist over in the BSV just called up, really sick, in hospital. I was told 90% sure that he's going to die. I don't know sometimes, and maybe just because I feel rebellious sometimes. If somebody says, oh, at 90% time, chance he's going to die, then why? So we did some chanting. He survived. So far anyway, I've got to keep on going, otherwise I'll lose my reputation. How on earth can that happen sometimes? There's something inside of like a positive mind, positive energy. Just give it everything you've got. Never think it can't be done. And even things like, cancers and stuff. I don't know, maybe a stupid old monk, but I'm going to keep on doing that until I go. And maybe that's one of the reasons why I'm healthy. Ajahn Brahm, you eat too much fish and chips. Well, I'm pretty healthy on it. But anyhow, this is actually how we take spirituality and that positive energy and some examples of that positive energy. Now we can put that into our life and make a difference. And people know that and they see that and they really want it to continue to happen, which is a great thing to be able to do. So that is a talk tonight, the first talk since I came back here. I hope you enjoyed it. I don't care if you didn't, because I enjoyed it. Thank you for listening. Okay, any questions? Oh yeah, actually there's some from outside as well. Eddie, haven't heard a question from you for 3 months. Yeah, come on. Yeah, shout it out, because no microphone. I've got a microphone there. Ben, have you got a microphone going? The operations manager, come on. Yeah. She's not a surgeon, by the way. She's operations manager, means something totally different.
Thank you for the really wonderful talk.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's what the world needs it now, Ajahn Brahm.
Really? So
yes,
I can retire now and just live.
Your talk on using the subtle way,
Yeah.
the kind way,
Yeah.
in trying to put things through,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. When when
No, finish there, no buts. Next question.
so, when you are talking, Ajahn Brahm, I've said this before,
Yeah.
my mind was reflecting on our world system,
Yeah.
There's the last 4 years or so in here, there's a lot of toxicity, coming out from certain politicians, I think, creating fear, division. They are trying to manipulate things in order to get things done, Yeah. So it come to I look at it, it's a very sad state, I really hope things could change, to be more positive, If you want to have things done, please be more, how do I say, approaching a more friendly, more way, more subtle way to get things done,
So what do you think you're going to do?
I really hope.
Are you going to elect me for the next election of
I think it's a very degrading, the world, the system. It's very sad now, no.
Yeah, sometimes
It's like
you see things are sad, but the people are just beautiful people. Like, come on, just look at all the people here listening to this. Really kind people. And their hearts are good. So we just need to touch their inner spiritual heart. And once it's touched, it comes out. It makes a far, far, far better world. So that's one of the reasons we have a place like this, where people can come and they feel safe. They're never going to get criticized or sort of abused. And they can come here and have a peaceful time. And even, I say, that time just comes to my mind years ago, that someone during the meditation period was laying at the back over there, this was quite a few years ago, and started snoring during the meditation, and pointing the feet of the Buddha, and can't do that. That's against the traditions, pointing the feet of the Buddha, and lay down and snore and disturb other people's meditation. And then somebody next to them just woke them up. And after I really told that person off, the one who woke the lady sleeping up. Not in a bad way, but I said, look, she had a chat with me before the meditation started, and she was a victim of quite extreme domestic abuse. She hadn't slept for days, too afraid to sleep. And she came here, and she felt this place was safe, secure. And so just naturally, she didn't mean to do anything wrong. She just lay down and fell asleep. First time she had some sleep, it went about 5 or 10 minutes in days. So sometimes we should never judge people that quickly. And afterwards, I said, next time a woman like that lays down and starts to go to sleep, please get her a pillow. And a little blanket or something. She really needs it. Forget about the rules. The major rule is kindness. And also that's again. Why can we do that? Yeah.
What came to my mind during a talk was the Buddha saying, hatred is not appeased by hatred. Yeah. Only by love is it quelled.
Yeah, but not by just by.
We can use more of this now in
not by saying love, but actually practicing it. It's good. Okay, now we did have some questions from overseas, I believe. Yep, because people actually just get online, listen to these things. Oh, question over where? Oh, over there. Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, actually, it wasn't coming, yeah?
So a friend of mine in Tasmania told me about this place.
Yeah.
I've been trying to come on a Friday ever since. It's been really good. I was thinking going down to visit her next week. And I got this book of yours.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Sure.
There's a possibility she might even be watching.
Ah, okay. Yeah, okay. Bring it up. Got a pen? I'll sign it online. You got a pen there? Yeah. What's her name?
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth, Queen Elizabeth?
Yeah, that one.
Okay. Oh, you got a pen there, Mr. President. Okay. Because just to let people know, there is an official signature of Ajahn Brahm, and I'll show it to you so you know what a real Ajahn Brahm signature is. It always has the smiley face. Elizabeth, wherever you are, Ajahn Brahm's smiley face. The trouble was, though, that sometimes I have to sign official documents, like the working with children card or something, and I find myself just doing a smiley face and getting into trouble. But they've got some beautiful photographs in this one. Yeah, where's the... Oh. This is one of my favourite ones. With a teddy bear. Sometimes, Ajahn Brahm, why are you cuddling a teddy bear? It is because it's something which is non-threatening. So I can cuddle it, and if you cuddle a koala, it often pees on you. if you cuddle a cat, they want to run away. And it's something which is a symbol of safety and kindness. That's why if you go to our retreat centre, we've got heaps and heaps and heaps of teddy bears there. Very simple spirituality, but very powerful, very deep. For many people who try to meditate, they can't do it. I say, put a teddy bear in your lap and cuddle that. It just adds that last little bit of kindness and softness, simplicity. It just shows you don't need a university degree in philosophy to be able to get a deep meditation. You need kindness. And it's simple just being warm to yourself. This is also one of my favourite pictures in here. I don't know if you can see it over there. It is from the jhana grove at night time. Very clear night, and see the full Milky Way up there, and it's gorgeous there. So sometimes, I meditate flat out on, we call it the stupas. You meditate flat out there, which means laying back down, looking at the sky, and it's absolutely gorgeous. So very lucky. It's a very good book. Yeah, excellent. $20 in the shop if you want. That's just a suggestion. Yeah.
Ajahn, thank you for the talk, but while we're on the subject of kindness, I need to ask you this. In a situation where there is where there are people that you don't feel very comfortable with, or in actual fact you are angry.
Yeah.
Or have a lot of dislike.
Yeah.
For a certain sort of behavior. Then you realize, you're aware about, you see, when you talk about kindness, it's like from the heart.
Yeah.
And the wholesome intention. What if you are actually upset, but then you're mindful of what you're saying? You don't want to hurt that person.
Yeah.
So then you perform an somewhat act of kindness instead of really saying what you mean. Now, is that then still kindness, or is it an act?
First of all, we like to be kind to other people. We should be kind to ourselves as well. And to be kind to ourselves does not mean that letting them have it. I need to say this, I need to do this. He says, why are you upset?
So if I see someone who's really cruel, who walks past, say, a dog and kicks it, and have a lot of fun doing that, I would like to say something.
Yeah, but what happens if you say something, then you get part of the argument because you're reacting in the same way. It's like they're kicking the dog for some reason, the dog hurt them. To see if there's another way of doing it.
So then, yes, I'm mindful, and I'll be
be kind,
please don't do this and all that. Yeah. But all the while, being confused as to, in that moment of being aware of what I'm saying, am I being pretentious? Or am I being kind, really? Yeah.
A lot of time, don't think too much of what you're saying, but just check, especially your facial expressions. Are you doing this with kindness? And sometimes if you do it with kindness, it's amazing just how people can pick that up and how powerful that can be. I'm just looking for a simple story about that. And the one which comes up was that when it was the closest time since I've been in Perth when I always got punched in my nose by a drunk Australian worker. If you don't know the story, it just happened just a few meters in front of the entrance over here. When we opened this place up many years ago, and that we managed to get the then governor of Western Australia, who was Sir Gordon Reid. He's a really lovely fellow. And we sent an invitation to these VIPs, and he actually came with his wife. Amazing. But then I was in charge of arranging all of the chairs and the tents and everything. And so I was told by the committee at that time, get the very best. We've got the governor of the state coming. We can afford it. If we go in debt, I can always get a job wiping dishes in the Vietnamese restaurants. That's only a joke. But anyway, so I rang up in Cottesloe. It's a pretty sort of posh suburb. Do any of you come from Cottesloe? Okay, you can admit it, I won't. But anyway, so I got really expensive stuff. That's what we ordered. But when the truck came on a Friday afternoon, I was busy helping somebody else. I didn't see them unload, but they got the order. It should be okay. When I checked it, all the tents were filthy. I mean, they're like being in a show in the bush somewhere. And so I didn't mind that. We just have to wash it down, hose them down. And the chairs were equally filthy as well. You'd think you'd get a nice hire firm, they'd actually give you some clean stuff, but we could fix that. Instead of complaining, just fix it. But the problem was we had about a dozen VIP chairs. And honestly, no exaggeration, not one of those chairs had legs the equal length. They all wobbled. I mean, a lot. And the following day, or actually 2 days, we were going to get the governor of Western Australia. And I thought, oh my goodness, what's going to happen? He sits on his chair with his wife and he falls off. This is a Buddhist society in Western Australia, not Bouncy Castle. And so anyway, so I got on the telephone and I got the lady I talked to hire these things, just as she was knocking off on a Friday afternoon, and said, look, the chairs and tents you gave us, and I described them, they need to be changed. I'm not doing this because I'm finding fault, but they can't be used. And she said, oh, there must be some big mistake, we'll change them for you. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, we'll be round again in half an hour or so. And so I was waiting for them this time to make sure to check them. And the truck, the big lorry, it just turned the corner from Constant Street to Nansen at the end of the road there. And I saw it coming. It was going quite fast. And we're halfway down the road there. One of the guys in the truck jumped out. He jumped out, and the car was still going at maybe 20, 30 kilometers an hour. And he came running towards us. Where's the bloke in charge? I want the bloke in charge. So I went up to him and said, I am the bloke in charge. And he had. Because what had happened, I could sense this, because as I was, his nose was about this far from my nose. And I could actually smell all the beer which he'd been drinking coming out of his mouth. I must have been, of all my life as a monk, that's probably the most beer I have breathed in. And he had he had his hand right in front of me like this, waiting. He was really angry because they'd been stopped drinking. Friday afternoon was finished. They were in the pub, starting their weekend together, and these Buddhists wanted their chairs changed. He was not a happy fellow. And I remember that time because all of our members who were helping out, were you there at the time, Eddie? No, okay. All of our members, they're supposed to be protecting the monks. Were they protecting me? No, they were just looking. Not one of them came up to help. It wasn't needed, though. Because, I do have kindness. I know how to put the kindness on. And he had his hand in front of my face like this, and I wasn't scared. I didn't talk. I just peacefully just had this loving kindness towards him. Poor fellow, he's just starting this weekend. It's not his fault. I don't know why they messed up the order. But I just stared at him with kindness. And he couldn't move. I don't know if you ever had those experiences. Like, I had 100% power over him. He didn't know what to do next. He was like stuck there. And of course, that 2 or 3 minutes it took the car to park, or the big van to park, and the boss came over to us and said, you okay? And he said, yeah, all right, let's go and unload the chairs. Yeah, I'll help you. So there was no aggro at all. Because sometimes when you know just how the human being works, you go up to those people who are kicking the dog. You don't need to shout at them. Just look at them with kindness and say, please leave that dog alone. If you want to kick anyone, please kick me.
So in those occasions, I did that, always reacting in a very calm manner.
Yeah.
But then, when I'm alone, I think back on my actions and I wonder to myself, was that kindness or was it an act of kindness that didn't come from the heart? Because at that time, I was actually feeling really upset.
Oh, yeah. So, when that man came up to me, honestly, I didn't feel any fear at all. So I knew he couldn't hit me. Even though many other people, maybe that's why all you guys who were watching at the time did nothing. It wasn't necessary. But after a while, it's great that you tried that and it worked. Next time, just never get upset, use kindness. And after a while, people realize that it's a waste of time getting angry at that girl. She just doesn't react. So it's still kindness. Carry on. Okay, from overseas, otherwise. From Hong Kong. Welcome back, Ajahn Brahm. How can I sleep more? We have this problem when we teach meditation retreats, and I always find that when meditation retreats are on, when people are supposed to be meditating, they've always got their head down like this, half asleep. And then they come up to me afterwards and said, oh, well, after the meditation day, when I went back to my room, I couldn't go to sleep at night. And I said, the solution is obvious. When you come and do meditation, try to go to sleep. When you go to bed at night, try to meditate. Now, there's something to that. And what is actually to that? When you try to go to sleep, you can't do it. So just stay awake. I did this for a time. I remember just going to bed at night and just couldn't go to sleep, probably too much tea. And just laying down in my bed there and just, I'm not going to get to sleep in time. And I thought, hey, what am I thinking about? I spend so much time with my legs crossed, talking to people. Now, this is the most comfortable position. I'm in my beautiful bed, a lovely pillow, my pillow, nice little blanket, it's really nice and soft. Why do I want to become unconscious for? I'm wasting this beautiful experience of being in my lovely, warm, cozy bed. Oh, this is so nice. And so then I thought, I don't want to go to sleep. I'm just going to lay in this most comfortable bed, the most comfortable piece of furniture in your house. Why do you want to waste that experience by becoming unconscious? The next thing I knew, I was fast asleep and waking up in the morning. It's a great way to go to sleep and not trying. And that's a very deep teaching. The best way to meditate is not to try to meditate. Just to be here and enjoy this wonderful moment of not having to do anything at all in your life. People are always telling you what to do. And you meditate and you tell yourself what to do. You tell yourself you're doing it all wrong. What do you do that for? Sit down there and just, no commands. Perfectly free. I'm just going to sit here and just relax to the max. You heard me say that many times before, relax to the max. You don't realize how powerful and deep a teaching that is. The trouble is, sometimes I make things seem so easy. They're very powerful. Anyway, how can I sleep more? I'm normally tense, but don't have much trouble falling asleep. Okay. It's being too wakeful during sleep and waking up too early. Bad immune. Okay. Wakeful during waking up too early. What do you mean too early? What is too early? So one thing you can do is, in your bedroom, remove all the clocks, close the windows so you don't know whether it's light or dark, and just sleep. I mentioned this, I think, in the last retreat I taught. If anybody wants to make a lot of money, I mean, sometimes you need lots of money, and go and buy a nice little piece of forest somewhere in Western Australia, build a few nice little huts there, not for meditation, not for yoga or exercise or anything, just a sleep resort. That's the only thing you do there. So you've got the most comfortable beds, and you can have breakfast, lunch, dinner any time of the day or night, whatever. And your job is just to go to this nice, quiet, comfortable room and just sleep and catch up. And you get up whatever time it is, and then you have some breakfast or lunch, or maybe have a bit of a walk or something, then you go back and go to sleep again. Any time of the day or night. For 3 or 4 days, you will find you will make a fortune. Next one, from the Middle East. I always dreamed to marry a woman and get in my own family, but I'm homosexual. Well, I can see a problem there. I struggle with depression and suicidal thoughts. Can you help? Well, if you're a homosexual, find a nice guy to stay with. If you really want to, have a relationship with somebody. There's nothing forbidden in Buddhism for anybody who wants to live a gay, lesbian, transgender, LGBTQIA plus lifestyle. And I just happened to see this morning because I was cleaning up some stuff in my room, old stuff, and I remember just there was a misquote of the Dalai Lama which was printed in one of the British papers, and the quote was that if you are gay, you can't be Buddhist. Full stop. And it said the Dalai Lama said that. Apparently he never did. He was misquoted. But that was in the newspaper, and that was also reported in the West Australian over here. I think in the Australian. And people said, Ajahn Brahm said, look, I was a heterosexual before I became a monk, but I said, look, this is one path, Buddhism, that we thought we'd be accepted. And they asked me for comments, and so I wrote to West Australia and I said the Dalai Lama's wrong. Period. Because there's nothing, no discrimination about your sexual preferences or your gender, recognition, who you are. May all beings be happy and well. That's what the Buddha kept on saying. May all beings, indiscriminate. And so a few people said, you can't criticize the Dalai Lama. But he was misquoted in the end. But anyway, I will criticize anybody. You know that. I got into a lot of trouble with my mouth, but I'm very proud of it. Well done, Brad. There's nothing wrong with that. So anyway, if you are homosexual, if you want a partner, find a male partner. There's lots of other people who are looking for partners in life. Depression, suicidal thoughts, that doesn't help anything. Can you help? Whoever you are, you call yourself Ace, so you must be a wonderful person. Ace is very high, very pure, wonderful. So see if you can find somebody in the same community. Even a Buddhist homosexual, that'd be the best. And have a wonderful time together. Adam Woods from USA. Are there certain practices we should be doing for Katina? It is my understanding it started on October the 20th and goes until the end of November. Thank you. To do a Katina ceremony, you have to have like a monastery, monks or nuns, at least 4, and you can do it on one day. But that's this month, from the first day after the full moon in October to the full moon of November. That day, that's what we do. So anything you can do, find a monastery in the United States. And especially in the United States, not what part of the United States, so you can find a bhikkhuni monastery for nuns. Because the monks usually do pretty well. See if you can help the bhikkhunis in the United States. Kazik from UK. How can I best support my friend whose child is autistic? And there's a lot of distress and suffering in that family. Thank you. with anybody. See if you can see the great beauty in that autistic person. Because sometimes we can just say, oh, the child's autistic. What does that mean? And don't say autistic anymore, autistic spectrum. And I like that word because spectrums are usually beautiful. If you see a light diffracted into a spectrum, it's really delightful to see. And there's also so many different ranges. And sometimes you see autistic people. I just remember somebody showed me this video of this father looking after his autistic kid. They used to go on marathons together. I mean, I don't know if you've seen that, but I remember seeing it. And that kid was just enjoying it. Obviously was showing signs, which I interpreted and everyone else interpreted, is really enjoying it. Having a wonderful time. So find out that being has come into this world. Not the same as any other being. Totally unique. And once you start to see that, you can see its beauty. From Iran. Amir from Iran. Ajahn Chah says, if you haven't whipped recently, your meditation hasn't begun. Cried, I think it means. I remember Ajahn Chah saying that. Because sometimes he let go so much of his attachments that sometimes it was really hard for him. One of the things he did, remember, he was just walking in the jungles of Thailand by himself. They call it just going on this, like Dutanga, all your possessions on your back, sleeping in under a little umbrella with a, what's it called, a mosquito net on the outside, having such few possessions. And one day, when he put up his little sleeping umbrella, the rain was just really harsh. And just like, we've had some big storms here. When you have big storms like that, the umbrella just doesn't save you anything. And everything he had, every robe which he had, everything which he had was just soaked to the skin. And there's no one there to talk to. And he felt just so alone and almost like rejected at the time. And just so wet. He said, this is not what I really expected meditation to be like. If you came to Jhana Grove for one of those retreats and you get totally soaked to the skin because the roof leaked, would you complain? Instead of complaining, say, well, these things happen sometimes. It's not going to kill you being wet. So anyway, that's what Ajahn Chah said, that sometimes letting go so fast was so hard on him. But in the end, he never regretted it. But it was just so difficult sometimes. But that's with Ajahn Chah. So he was actually saying those people have a difficult time in their meditation. Just keep on going. It's worth it in the end. But it was like crying, not whipped. Goodness graciously. From the United States, for lay people interested in deepening their meditation practice, how important is it to have a relationship with a single teacher to guide them? No, it's not that important. Simply because that when you go to university, how many teachers do you have in, say, just like maths or chemistry or something? You have many teachers. Because each one of them is very strong in a different part of that subject. The same here. Don't just wait till the next Ajahn Brahm retreat to come. Just this Ajahn Brahmali, Ajahn Abhi, Ajahn Ayahasapanya, Ajahn Nisarano sitting next to me. One of the nice things which I've seen the last Rains retreat is many of the younger monks were asked to give talks online. And I listened to some of them. I was really impressed. They're actually really good teachers. So when I was very happy that the training is actually working, but it meant I can retire early. There's other people to carry on after me. So it's actually, for those people when I used to go overseas and said, the nuns' monastery needs a new road or needs something, and to raise money for these projects, I always used to tell people that Dhammasara nuns monastery is a nun's factory. Bodhinyana is a monk factory. So we get the raw ingredients in, the raw products. These young men who decided to ordain. So they're the raw material, and they go through the conveyor belts and the training and stuff. When they come out of the end, we get the finished product. And they're really good. We don't let people go teaching too soon, because we have to make sure of QC, quality control. And when the quality is high enough, then we can send them all over the place. And that's why people in Malaysia and Singapore and Hong Kong, they love it. Because they know they're getting some monks and nuns once they are trained up and got the QC stamp from Ajahn Brahm, or Sapanya. I don't stamp nuns. Then they can go off and teach all over the place, which is wonderful. Okay, now, I'm crikey. Well, okay. From Germany. What is the Buddhist idea of being reborn as a person with Down syndrome? Okay. I had a personal experience in Down syndrome for many years. Is it okay to carry on for a bit longer? Those of you who have to leave, please don't get offended. You can leave. But I will get offended if the two monks next to me leave. Sorry. When I was a student, I was studying theoretical physics, okay? It was really tough intellectual brain stuff. But then once a week, I won't tell you the full story why I did this, I volunteered to do some community service with Down syndrome people. And honestly, I thought I was doing it being a goody-goody. But I just loved those Thursday afternoon going to Fulbourn Hospital outside of Cambridge. And one example of this is that I turned up one Thursday afternoon, and one of the Down syndrome young men came running towards me and just put his hands around me and gave me this big hug and asked me, what happened? How the heck do you know? Only a simple thing happened. I'd just broken up with my girlfriend the night before. He saw it straight away. I said, how did you see that? And one thing I learned from experiences like that, these people with Down syndrome, their emotional intelligence was huge. And quite frankly, I enjoy spending time with them and learning about emotional intelligence. I didn't know the name of the word then, didn't know it was called emotional intelligence. Learned so much from them. I valued them, and I much preferred that than going in a lab and hanging out with the likes of Stephen Hawking and stuff. The emotional intelligence was huge. So, I don't know. It's another beautiful person in this world. So just great. Okay. Someone from Singapore, Amy. I've recently seen a YouTube channel where a couple in Taiwan raised happy and well-taught children with homeschooling and daily Bible reading and on teaching of Christ. Is there anything we laymen can incorporate in Buddha's teachings in our daily life? How we eat, talk, conduct, etc.? Yeah, you can always be kind. Make kindness the most important. And then you find that, what you teach your children, you homeschool them or whatever, is far deeper with that kindness. Or as this one person said, as a monk over in England, they were asked that two young English parents, they just had a child, and they asked, how should we bring up our child? Should we, take them to every different type of religious institution so they can be exposed to Christianity, every type of Christianity, Buddhism, which type of Buddhism, Hinduism, take them to a mosque as well, or just let them find out for themselves? And this monk gave this beautiful answer and said, just teach your children to be honest and encourage them to question. Just those two. Because then, if you teach your children honesty, then they won't stop at a teaching which doesn't make sense. They won't accept some of the gobbledygook which goes past as religion or spirituality. And the questioning will keep them searching until they find something which they know is true. So questioning and honesty, really important. Lastly, this is the last question, honestly. From Germany, how can I meditate when I have chronic pain and scared it gets worse? Breathing is hard to focus on and peace is hard to find. How to calm down when restless? Thank you. Many years ago, before this hall was built, we did the talks over in the community hall on the other side. A gentleman came up to me and he, with a big smile on his face, and said, I've finally done it, Ajahn Brahm. And of course, when you say something like that, you're interested. What have you done? He said, I finally got the machine flat. I mean the ECG. He said, no, I did that weeks ago. Now the EEG as well. Through his meditation. Could calm his brain down so much it flatlined. And he just turned around. See all those people in the back of the room there? They're all from Osborne Park Hospital, pain clinic, trying to find out what the heck's going on. Because he was in the pain clinic. He was, I think, one of 5 or 6 people. This is what he told me. 5 or 6 people in the state of Western Australia could have any drug available because his pain was incredible. He said that they did the scans on his brain and found out that what he was experiencing was the same as if you were cutting your arm off with a chainsaw with no anesthetic. He said sometimes you needed sort of similes like that so friends and relations could understand what you were really feeling. He said the only thing he could do in such severe pain was actually to learn how to meditate. But you don't just meditate on your breath. Whatever's the most important thing, the salient thing, whatever comes to your mind which is happening right now, that's what you're aware of. You don't try and watch the breath or watch peace or whatever. This is happening now, this pain. And now, once it's there, you learn how to be kind to it. Tough thing to do. But in such chronic pain, got no choice. If you want to hear more about that, I had a poem years ago from this. I read it in one of the magazines, and I got permission to put it in that book, Opening the Door of Your Heart. A Life Without Pain, it was called. And it's a beautiful poem about just how hard it is to live with the life without pain. Sort of ordinary pain has a meaning to it. It teaches you not to put your finger in the fire. But there's some types of pain, like chronic pain, which have no meaning to your life, actually a threat to life, and a constant burden to any happiness or peace in your life. But he said it has a meaning of learning how to live life in spite of the pain. And that's only a brief summary of the poem. But then what really hit me hard when I sort of saw it, it was written by an 11-year-old boy. An 11-year-old who was had allergic to everything in life, living in constant pain. And when I sort of saw that, wow, that really hit me hard. Just how, if an even kid had developed the wisdom to understand what chronic pain really means. I don't have chronic pain. I haven't had that deep insight. So it can be done. That's the reason I put it in the book, Opening the Door of Your Heart. Or what's the other word? It's Who Ordered This Truck? No. Yeah, Who Ordered This Truckload of Dung? That's the American version. You don't focus on things. Breathing is hard to focus on. Of course it is. You don't focus. You let the mind stay on the most prominent object. Now's the only time you have. This pain is the most important thing in the whole world. It dominates everything. Be with it and be kind to it. Learn what caring is. Amazing thing then happens. Okay, thank you all for staying a bit longer. And thank you all for bearing all these questions. Hope you enjoyed it. My apologies for going on a bit long. And I wish you all happiness and well-being. So what do we do now? Oh yes, we bow, don't we? I haven't done this for 3 months. Here we go. Whoa, I'm stuck. Arahang Sama Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi Suakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipano Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Sanghang Namami. Very good. Okay, those who want to chat a lot, please will come into the reception area because